Shivali, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Good, thank you. Thanks, Elliot. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure is truly mine. It's exciting to have you on for the very first time as well and
I
to be
know.
here with you in person. How was your morning?
Ooh, the morning was exciting. It was thrilling, a whole lot of emotions.
Yeah.
It was a really fun morning with the photo shoot.
Yeah, it was a once in maybe more than a lifetime.
Well, I've always said once in a lifetime, but after that, I'm thinking maybe one more.
Yeah, tell me a little bit more about your experience. How did you feel this morning before it was all about to go? And when you got there, what was the difference in between your expectation and the reality that you had?
So, yeah, good questions. I think I was really nervous the last few days, just thinking about how it's all going to go. Um, and the nerves really set, and I thought it's going to be really serious. And I thought, oh, is it really going to take 1 hour? But by the end of it, we had so much fun, and I loved it. And I think you made that fun. And I looked at the some of the photos from the camera, and I just thought, these are the results from all the work what I've done. So it was just really nice to see that hard work on camera.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the beautiful thing. I didn't say that to any of you guys, but I want to say it now is that what you see on the other side of that lens is literally the accumulation of all those efforts that you put in, all those training sessions that you went to, all the times that you chose to eat the foods that you knew would align with your plan, all the times you said no when you could have easily said yes. It's all down to what you did ultimately. Like I guided you on that journey, but it was you who took all the action. So don't ever forget that because it's significant. It's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. It was powerful to see all of that come together today, just to see those results and the fun we had with it, and actually the confidence as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You're ready, whipping your top off, ready to show your abs to the world. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think you said we're going to do this photo shoot, and I said if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it properly.
And you
So,
did. You absolutely did. And before we go down the route of the photo shoot, I want to scale back a little bit. Like,
yeah,
I want to get back to when we began our journey together, which was around January last year, if I'm not mistaken, 2024, it would have been.
that's right.
And you were in a very different position to where you find yourself today, and also a very different position to where you started this photo shoot journey as well. So, can we roll that back a little bit and go to why you even started the journey in the first place? And maybe a little bit about how your life was prior to starting this journey as well.
Yeah. So I've gone through sort of quite a few ups and downs when it comes to my fitness journey, my wellness journey. Growing up, I was always quite sporty, quite active,
Mhm.
fairly sort of lean. Didn't really need to worry too much about what I ate. But that's when you're young, right? Things change.
Mhm.
And I had a baby. And after that, everything changed. My body changed. I felt different. I was sluggish. I didn't have energy. I didn't really want to do anything. Uh, and then obviously with that comes bad eating habits as well. So before we met and before I found you, I wasn't in a good place, both mentally and physically. I didn't really recognize myself. And as I said, I just didn't have the energy that I've always had before. I remember being on a paddle court actually, and halfway through, I was so tired. I just want to go home. I don't have the energy. And that's just not me. I didn't like how I felt. So I realized I needed to do something about it, but it wasn't just fitness. What can I find that gives me some guidance on fitness, nutrition, well being, rest, all of it?
Mhm.
Um, to be frank, I didn't even know that existed until I had a conversation with Sandhya, a friend of mine who's also been on the journey,
Mhm.
and I was inspired, and that's when I met you.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing to hear you say that you struggled on the paddle court. That is something I
Yes,
can't even comprehend right now.
yeah, and not to sort of blow my own trumpet, but I couldn't. Every game is generally an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I was 30 minutes in, super tired, flushed, and now I can play two games back to back, 3 hours, and I'm good.
Yeah.
So I think just that fitness journey has been amazing and something I remember that feeling from when I was young. I know what that feeling was like. I just didn't know how to get there.
Yeah, 100%. And the first phase of your journey was around a 10-kilo drop. So you're carrying an extra kind of 12, 13 kilos compared to what you are today. Do you remember what that felt like, aside from the paddle court moment, but how you felt in confidence wise, how you felt when did you looked in the mirror or when you were just going about your daily life? Did it impact your daily life in many ways?
It did indeed. I think it definitely impacted my confidence. Again, it's not about looking skinny for anyone else or looking thin for anyone else. It was, I need to go back to feeling the way I used to feel
Mm.
and looking the way I used to feel to then be to feel myself again. So the extra weight was difficult. I, as I said, I didn't feel like myself. So suddenly my clothing changed. I wasn't able to go out and do all the things I loved doing before as well. So it wasn't a fun experience knowing that I'm carrying this extra weight, which my body isn't used to.
Mhm.
I think that was the main thing. It just didn't feel like me.
No.
So it wasn't so much of meeting a certain number on the scale, although we had a goal. It was the feeling of getting to a
Yeah.
place where I was like, yeah, this is me.
Yeah, it's what it represents more so than
Yeah.
anything, right? And I think that that's why a lot of people will, and might be something that you're maybe quite misunderstood with. If people saw you in clothing, they might have not actually thought that you would have felt like that, right?
No.
Because if a lot of people have these interpretations of different people's bodies, especially if they're quite far away from that person's body. I'm like, you don't need to do this,
Oh
or you don't
yeah.
need to do that. Was that the case with you as well? You felt kind of misunderstood because of you're like, I'm struggling here, but no one really gets it, and maybe
Yeah.
they don't take it really seriously when I tell them about it, even.
Absolutely. In fact, that's probably been one of my biggest challenges through this journey
Mm,
is people with the best intentions
yes.
saying, you don't need to do this. Why are you doing this? No, you're going to look sick. Don't do that. And I think it got to me. And I thought that, I don't have the support I want. Should I really do this? And I kept looking in the mirror thinking, but I really want to do this.
Hmm.
So I think it took a lot of strength to realize to shut out the noise, to surround myself with people who understood why I needed to do this and get them on the journey with me. But you're absolutely right. I think if someone did look at me, even in phase two of this transformation,
Yes.
to say, but you've lost the weight. You
Yeah,
you want to
perhaps
lose
even more
more?
so. Yeah,
You want to lose more?
exactly.
Why? And the to explain the why, very few people would understand that, only because they just see what they see. They wouldn't understand the feelings behind it.
Yeah, and what gave you the courage and the strength to make that decision to reinvest in yourself and your health and wellness? Because I speak to a lot of people who come to me in their 50s or their 60s once their kids are all grown up,
Yeah.
and they are like, now is the time where I'm finally going to start prioritizing myself again. You were a relatively new mother in that sense. Your child wasn't that old when you decided to get started on this journey. What allowed you to say that I'm going to give myself permission to do this? Because I think that that's what maybe a lot of ladies, especially new mums, are thinking right now. It's like, well, if I take away the time, if I give the time to myself, I have to take it away from somewhere, and maybe I'm taking it away from my relationship or my marriage or my children, and I don't feel comfortable with doing that. And yes, this is something that's really bothering me, but I'm gonna prioritize the other things, which I think is absolutely not what we should do. And I'm so proud of you for taking that step. So, what did it take for you to allow yourself to actually take that step?
The mom guilt is real.
Mum guilt is
And
real.
I
Yeah.
had that for a long time. I did not put myself first. And at the time, it was fine. I didn't need to put myself first. I had to put my child first. And that meant being on her routine and doing everything, being available for her at every step of the way, every minute of the day. What really, where I found the courage was actually through Prit, my husband. I would say to him, I really miss playing sport. I really miss being active. Can we do something? Oh, but I don't have the time. And he said, Shiv, you want to do this? I've got you. Arya's older now. She's 2. Um, and you can really do this. I know it makes you happy. And
Wow.
we had a big conversation about it. Um, and he knew that there was just something missing in my life around the fitness and the wellness. I would listen to podcasts. I would talk to people, and I think, oh, I wish I had the time. He said, you do have the time. We'll make the time. So I couldn't have done this without Prit. He really encouraged me to get out of my comfort zone of, but I'm a new mom. I have to be there for her, and I have to
Hmm.
work, and I don't have time for anything else. And to look in the mirror and think, you know what? And you need to do something for yourself, whatever that is. And this is what I chose.
Wow. It's amazing to have a supportive partner, huh? It makes
Absolutely.
a huge difference. So I'm more and more pleased with Pritt's contribution to your journey every single time I hear about your journey. So it's amazing how impactful a supportive partner can be as well. And then taking it to the moment where we had our first conversation, I remember having that chat in January as well. And you seem very determined to make it happen. And as I said on stage to you yesterday, you're a perfect example of someone who has a specific goal. They come in, they get it done, they learn how to maintain it, then they're straight out. And I wish a lot of people would end up doing that because, as I said to Parrot just in our conversation, is that so many people extend the journey for way longer than they should based on X, Y, or Z reason. We don't need to go into the specifics. So when you had that first conversation with me, first question I had is that did you have any doubts about the ability of this work? And obviously you saw Sandia's journey and you were thinking, okay, well, I'm inspired by that. But did you have any doubts about whether it would actually work for you or whether you would even be able to commit to it fully?
Surprisingly, no.
Oh, wow.
When I put my mind to something and I know I've got the backing of my family and that guilt is gone, I know I'll do it.
Mhm.
And I think from the first conversation you and I had, I instantly connected with you, and I realized that you will understand me. We had a really good conversation. That connection was all I needed to know that I found the right coach. But I knew that whether it was with you or however, I was going to find a way to get myself on this fitness journey, both in terms of nutrition, in terms of my well being, and in terms of my body. I was going to get there. I had put my mind to it.
Yeah.
So,
Amazing.
yeah.
And again, it's another beautiful example is that if you can get yourself into that position, and again, we spoke about the conversation just in that previous podcast, is that sometimes you just need to make sure that the path is clear.
Yeah.
And by you clearing the mum guilt, by you having the support of
Absolutely.
Prit and being able to know that, okay, I don't have to feel this level of guilt or responsibility. And he's like, okay, I've got a clear path in front of me. We're going to make that time. You're able to just go 100% after it, which is absolutely amazing as well. And thinking back to the first stage of your journey, like, can't remember too many challenges that we had. Obviously, there were weeks where the scales were a little bit more stubborn.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing compared to what we've experienced in round two.
Yeah.
Obviously, those probably look like nothing compared to what we experienced in round two. But is there any big challenges that you faced when we went through the first round of the journey?
Yeah, I think so I'll talk about what wasn't a challenge, which was the fitness. I loved the workouts.
Mhm.
Absolutely loved the workouts. I loved completing them. I loved getting the steps in. That was fun because activity came a little bit easier for me. The
Yeah.
nutrition part was really tough. And it's not that I just only wanted to eat food that wasn't necessarily healthy the whole time, but I had a really bad habit of snacking a lot throughout the day. And what that meant was it would impact my actual meals. And that meant I didn't get enough proper food. I wasn't
Mm.
satiated. Um, and it would just repeat the same cycle every single day. When I'm stressed, I'll just look at the junk food cupboard. Um, so it wasn't necessarily that I ate a lot, it was just not the right things. And it impacted meal after meal after meal.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that was my biggest challenge in phase one, was overcoming those habits,
Yes.
was replacing them with things like protein shakes or yogurt with berries, and that made me feel better.
Yeah.
And so I think it was such a mind shift to say, oh, but I really want the crunch from the crisps, as opposed to drinking a shake.
Yeah.
But actually, the feeling afterwards was what I kept trying to remind myself of. This is what's going to make me feel better, not make me feel guilty afterwards. So once in a while, I would indulge. I didn't stop
Yes.
at
Mhm.
all. I think if I stopped completely, I would have, when we finished, I probably would have
Bounce
gone a
back.
little nuts
Yeah.
and bounced back. So I indulged every so often. And I think, you were very supportive of that.
Yep.
But I think I started to make the choice myself to say, actually, this is not going to make me feel good afterwards. So I'm just going to stick with what I know will. And that started to change. And what was really beautiful was Arya was loving all these healthy things I was eating, like the yogurts and the berries. And now that's what she asks for her snacks. So we eat them together. And I think it's beautiful. I wish that, I learned this before.
Mhm.
But I'm glad I have now, so that we do some of these things together in terms of healthy snacks, because that was my biggest challenge.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it's not an uncommon situation for many people to find themselves in because of a lot of, especially when they have habits like you had, they actually get confused as to why they've become overweight or they've gained these 5 or 10 kilos because it's a little bit confusing because it's like, well, I actually don't eat that much. That's what
Yes.
they'll say. Like, I only like graze here and there
Yeah.
and everything along those lines. But then obviously, if you add up all of those grazings and you recognize that the ratio, like you're never getting any protein in or anything like that, and then also it gradually happens over time as well. It doesn't happen overnight. It's like all of a sudden you're like, well, now it makes sense. But until you have that awareness, you kind of can't have an idea. But then once you start to have those protein shakes and the yogurts and the meals, and you're like, okay, it makes sense now. And then you start to realize the difference. But yeah, it's interesting because so many people will relate with that in the sense of like, I don't eat that much. And even when I have calls with people, they're like, I have this, I have this, I have this. And I'm like, well, technically, I don't think like, you should be in the position that you are, right?
Absolutely. And nutrition is such a big topic that I think after doing this journey I'm so inspired. I want to learn more every day. I want to learn more from my daughter. I want to
Yes.
learn more from my family, and I want to learn more for myself. So in addition to, I think, all your guidance on nutrition, it got me, I was naturally just listening to all these amazing podcasts, reading books, understanding nutrition in so many different ways. And I think I just started to enjoy the process a lot more.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so empowering when you have that information as well, because of you can use yourself as like a human experiment in a way, right? You can
Exactly.
just essentially find out what works better for you, what makes you feel good.
Yeah.
And it becomes a very enjoyable experience to go down. So I love that for you. I'm really, really happy about that. And then you got to the end of the first journey. How did that feel? How did that change your life?
I mean, firstly, I think we got there. I think we said you estimated 6 months. I think we were done in 4.5, 5.
We were.
And I think that in itself was amazing. That achievement was great. It gave me the confidence to say, well, I can do this. So I think that was one of the first things was I put my mind to it. We achieved what we wanted to achieve, but we enjoyed the process. I built such a
Yes.
good relationship with you. And it was like, right, what more? But I think what I did was I took some time. I continued to maintain. I wanted to see what that's going to do after we sort of rolled off a little bit and
Yeah.
went into maintenance. How would my body react then? And I think it was just really nice to see that that maintained well. I was able to go on holidays. I was able to go to restaurants, eat with family and friends, and do all the things I still love. But I was so much more mindful, and I think that has changed forever.
Yeah. 100%. It's night and day to where you got started, right? Like from going like not feeling comfortable in your own skin
Absolutely.
to I'm still mind blown about the paddle court situation. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy to hear that now because I think that when I go on the journey with people, like I look at them from where like there's two things I do. I look at them for the potential of where I believe they can be, and I think that's a gift that I will actually acknowledge myself for in the sense I see the potential in people. So when they get started on though I have their first call with me, it's like I can already envision where I think that they're going to be. And in my mind, health and fitness isn't necessarily so complex once you've got the right solution for yourself. So I'm like, okay, I've got a good idea that I've got the solution for this person. So if they apply it, then they're going to achieve amazing things as you have. And then there's the second aspect of it in the sense that I see you for who you are today. So I forget that you were even like that in the past. With most people I work with, and they're like, yeah, I used to go out and drink every night or whatever it might be. And it's like, it kind of blows my mind to be completely honest. So yeah, we wrapped that up. We went for a bit of a reverse diet, left you kind of in that position where you're able to maintain things on your own. And then what happened afterwards?
Well, you called me and said, "Are you up for a photo shoot?" That's what happened. And I said, "Ooh, a challenge." Now, this is the thing. I can't say no to a challenge. And I said, "Yes." And I didn't think twice. And then I'll be honest, I had moments where I thought, "What have I just signed up to?"
Mhm.
So I think when you reached out and said, "Are you up for a challenge?" I was at a point in my life where I thought, okay, I feel good, but I want to feel stronger. I want to be more energized. I I want to be able to go to the gym and do things that I've never done before or try sports that I've never tried before. And I thought to do that, maybe it'll be great to have a conversation with you, see what I can do in terms of my health and fitness to get me to that sort of level up.
Mhm.
So when we discussed that, I think in my mind, subconsciously, I was already looking for something new. And then you sort of came in, and that's when I said yes, I think almost immediately.
Yeah, you
Um,
were in right away.
I was in. Yeah, I was in, and I thought, right, this can't be that hard. Boy, was I wrong.
Yeah, it's like I've done this before.
Yeah,
It's going to be significantly less weight to drop than the first
exactly.
time round.
Yeah.
So that brings me on to a question I'd love to ask you: is like, what was the most valuable thing that you learned about yourself, either during round one of this journey or specifically round two, which will explain why it was harder in just a moment. But what was the most valuable thing that you learned about yourself?
So I think in round one, I learned the resilience, and I learned that I'm stronger than I think than I thought I was.
Mhm.
In round two, it was the fact that I almost gave up, but I didn't. And just understanding that actually, again, it's a mindset thing in a different way. This
Yeah.
was slightly different to the first time. The first time was weight loss, just getting to the number I wanted to, in addition to feeling good.
Yes.
This one was about it's going to show, right? The precision was a lot more different to the first time,
Hmm.
and more importantly, I think the structure that we followed had to be 100% precise. We had a shorter time frame compared to the first time, and those results were going to show. And if they're going to show, I had to give my 100%. So I think I learned so much about myself, the resilience. Where also I found it difficult. I learned how to overcome those as well. So it's been a really interesting journey on self learning.
Yeah, it has been. I remember getting a message specifically from you, and you were mentioning that, like, I don't think I'm going to be able to get to this certain weight, or maybe I
Yeah,
don't think I should get to this certain
exactly.
weight. And I think it was off the back of, a difficult weekend that you had. And I was like, let me grab my phone or voice messaging. I need to speak to,
Yeah.
like, I need to just remind you of what you'll get on the other side. Again, it's that whole, like, knowing what this person's going to achieve in the future and needing them to recognize this and not give up on themselves because of, again, you'd already achieved something amazing. So even if you'd stopped it at that point, you'd still be in a fantastic position. But I was like, I know how good you're going to, I know the feeling that you were going to have today. I knew as soon as you looked at yourself in that lens, like, and I was like, I can't not have you have this. Like,
Yeah.
I know what you've achieved in this first round, and I know you have the capability and the potential to make it happen. So I was like, okay, I'm going to give the most impactful 4-minute voice message of my life, and let's see what it happens. And then obviously thereafter, it was still difficult, but you were able to turn it around. And I think that you were locked in and focused on the vision to begin with. There was a messy ground in between. But maybe explain some of the challenges that you experienced this time around, because again, first time round it was like the nutritional challenges, but there was nothing outside, no external circumstances that really caused us any issues. Talk to us about the challenges you had in these last 12 weeks.
So two major health things happened to me. One was I got COVID,
Oh.
and that wiped me out for a while. And I thought, oh my God, I was stressed out. I said, I'm not going to achieve this in the timeline. And I don't feel like myself. I was just unwell for quite a long time. So I thought, well, okay, I've got COVID. So I'm just going to say to Elliot, I'll do this next time. And I think when I had that conversation, you said, just let's see how it goes. Just keep me posted on how you're feeling. You didn't let me give up.
No.
The second challenge I had physically was, and I still am suffering now, is a disc bulge. So I was at the gym, and I think maybe I was just hadn't had enough rest that day.
Mhm.
So I was doing things I've always done before. It was nothing new, but my back gave in, and it really threw me off. I couldn't do the exercises I wanted to do that were on my plan. And I think I mentioned earlier, I love structure. And if we had to go off that structure, then it was going to throw me off.
Mhm.
So I felt really uncertain. And I thought, I'm not going to be able to do this. And it was almost like, was I looking for reasons, actual reasons that you could see that I'm not, it's just saying I
Mhm.
can't do it because I don't want to. It's the fact that I've got these issues. So those were my two challenges in terms of health. But moreover, I think when I got back onto the boat to say, okay, we're doing this, nothing shifted, nothing changed. My weight didn't shift. My body didn't look any different. I was working so hard, nothing was changing for weeks. And I thought, right, this isn't going to work for me, and I can't do this. So I think, that sort of period of the 2 to 3 weeks of things not shifting, it really made me question whether this was the right time or not. I knew that this was a challenge I wanted to do, but I was like, this is just the wrong time. Everything is going wrong. And look at, we're here today.
Mhm. And what kept you going during those moments as well? Like, what gave you the resilience to keep pushing? Because again, another thing on top of that is that your work schedule was significantly busier this time than the first time round as well.
Yeah. So again, even from a work perspective, I think I took on a couple of projects at the same time. So there was that aspect, as you just said. I think what really kept me going was I remember saying to my daughter and to Arya, I was like, in March after my birthday, I'm gonna do this photo shoot. And Arya said, I can't wait to see the photos.
Oh.
And every day she goes, have you done your photo yet? Have you done? Can I see it? And I said, no, it's not yet. It's not yet. It's gonna be soon. And I just felt like, how can I not show her those photos? How can I not show her that I did this?
Mhm.
And she was so excited for me. So I think both Prit, my husband, and my family just really being like, okay, so when is the shoot and when is Elliot coming? Are you ready? how can I say I've decided not to do it? I think I just couldn't. It didn't come out those words because everybody was so supportive in terms of my family. So I think it was like I need to get these photos from my daughter, and just to show her that I did it.
And you'll have those for a lifetime now
I
as well.
do. I
It's another
do.
thing I forgot to tell you guys. It is like, no matter what comes next, and I only expect good things from you guys on your journey, but you'll always be able to look at those and be like, I achieved that, like
Yeah.
mum achieved that, mummy achieved that, and dad achieved that, daddy achieved that. Like, how incredible is that you're going to be able to show them? And that's going to be something that you can always like essentially demonstrate to them is like, okay, these were the challenges that I faced with my health, my body, certain, and again, beyond the body side of things, but the circumstances as well. And
Yeah.
this is the resilience I showed to overcome it. And I'm so glad that you had that support system in your family as well. Was it any different doing it this time with Brit on board with you?
Oh, completely. Let me tell you, I think having Prit on board and him understanding your process,
Mhm.
significantly changed how he saw my journey. And he's always been supportive, but this time I think it was just that little bit extra to know that actually the times where I was dipping and that I felt I couldn't do it, he was saying the right things because he knew, he understood.
Yes.
And I think him being on this journey just it brings us together and I loved it. I've loved being on the journey with him. I mean, on a Monday morning, we're both taking pictures of each other, uploading it on the app and sending them to you, and he gets it. And I think and I there's Arya saying, can you take mine as well? So I think it became something we enjoyed doing together.
Yeah.
And that really changed things. So I have to say that the doing it this time was very, very challenging. There were moments I found it very hard. There were moments I didn't enjoy it.
Mhm.
But the part I enjoyed the most was being on the journey as well.
Yeah, it's a beautiful touch. I'm so glad that he decided to do
Yeah.
it at that time as well. I think it made such a difference. And it made such a difference. And when he decided to come on board, because I think you've been trying to push him for some time now, and then
I
he
have.
decided, I was like, this is going to be perfect in terms of alignment, because I knew how you got on your own first time round.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, this is probably going to make things even stronger because of, again, like being able to couple up with someone when you're out at a social occasion or something like that, going with your partner and having them as your support system, even if they are choosing slightly differently, it just makes such a difference as well. And you mentioned that there were some points of this journey that you didn't particularly enjoy, but what was your favorite part of the photo shoot experience today?
That holy shit moment when we saw the photos. I was like, wow, that is amazing. Just seeing those results. I think the other part, my favorite part was actually doing it with Nixie and Part. I think having them on the journey, having fun with them, encouraging each other,
Yeah.
that's been amazing. I've found new friends in a different way.
Yeah.
I think we'll have a connection that's sort of for life.
Lifetime, yeah.
And yeah, I think just doing it together, but seeing those results and just having fun with it, that was my favorite part of the photo shoot.
Yeah. I think you guys have built a true bond for life. There's gold inside that WhatsApp group.
Absolutely.
And this is the thing, again, people don't see behind the scenes. Like, you guys are always like pushing each other, motivating each other.
Yeah.
And in many different ways as well. There'll be a moment where you're feeling motivated and you're pushing the others, and you're feeling down and they're pushing you, for example. And it was nice in the way that everyone leaned on each other to make this a reality. And something you have to do for me as a favor is, when you show your daughter those photos, make sure that someone's filming her reaction.
Aw,
I'd love
I
to see
will.
how she reacts to that
will.
all as well. I think
I
it'll be
will.
amazing just to see her face and like, wow.
Absolutely.
It's going to be, one of those core memories that's going to stay
Definitely.
with you forever as well. So obviously you've learned a lot about yourself and you've discovered many, many different things, both physically and mentally. What do you want to achieve next?
So I think that's the big question, isn't it? What do I want to achieve next? So the very first thing is sustaining and maintaining everything from nutrition to wellness to the physical body. As Part said to you earlier, we've worked so hard for this moment. I don't want to give it up. I don't want to give up the feeling that I have of feeling as strong as I've ever felt ever before, feeling this energized. And of course, the results show in the mirror. I'm not going to be walking around without sort of a shirt and just a sports bra. That's not what I want. But I think it's more about how I feel when I look in the mirror for myself.
Yes.
And I think it's when I'm doing the exercising and being able to push further, having the confidence to do that. So I think it's maintaining and sustaining where we are today, seeing how that goes in everyday lifestyle. As I said, going away, being on holiday, work. And then I just want to continue pushing myself further and to see what else I could do more from a wellness perspective, actually,
Yeah.
more holistically. and really just going deeper on nutrition, I think.
Yeah.
Exploring different kinds of options in foods to see how that affects my body. So I'm really curious to see how we throw more things into the picture and how my body reacts to that, and then how I need to adjust. I think this is a great learning curve. So
Yeah.
that's, I think, probably what's next for me in terms of the more holistic view.
I love it
Yeah.
because of when you've overcome the essential things that you need to work on, you can then start to go down the route of what interests you or what's going
Yes.
to optimize you. And that's a beautiful thing because you're no longer having to solve an issue anymore.
Yeah.
You're actually just like, what's around the corner? What am I
Exactly.
curious about? What
Yeah.
do I want to explore? And I think that's a beautiful position for anyone to be in. And I think that now it's just time to embrace that. And it's a beautiful that you've got the opportunity to do so. So there'll be a lot of people who are not there yet. They're still working on those challenges. And they probably relate with you. Again, new mum guilt, not feeling the way that they feel that aligns with their true selves. What would you say to those people listening who are resonating with your journey right now?
So I think if anyone's even got an inkling or a thought that's come into their mind to say they want to try something different, do it. Don't think, do it. I think finding the right kind of guidance is one of the most important things. And I think it's more, it's listen to yourself. Cut out the noise, listen to yourself, be patient. Don't expect everything to happen in 1 or 2 months. Be patient with it. It's a journey, it's a lifetime change. It's not a 3 month change and then you go back to the way you were. So I think it's find out why you want to do this, what you want to still be doing in the next 5 years. If this is still it, there should be no question about it.
Mm.
Jump on the idea of making a change and see magic happen.
Yeah. And you will see magic happen as long as you see it through and you put in the work as you've done. So huge
Absolutely.
congratulations to you
Thank you.
for everything you've achieved, especially on this journey. Like I said, the first one you made my job very, very easy. The second one, it was
It was
a
hard.
tough one for both of us in that sense. But I'm glad that you remained resilient. You kept persisting. You didn't let those voices in your head or the voices outside of your head
Yeah.
influence you. And look at the results you got off the back of it. So huge
Yeah.
congratulations and thank you so much for being here today. I truly
Thank you so
appreciate
much,
it.
Elliot. Thank you.
You're very welcome.